Hi, my name is Makai McCraven, and you're watching First Look.
Hello and welcome to First Look. I'm Don Was, the president of Blue Note Records. Makai McCraven is one of the most brilliant drummers in the world. He's also a highly innovative band leader who has created a unique signature as a record maker, which is not an easy thing to do. His overall approach is to put extraordinary musicians together in a room, record them playing live, and then employ hip hop and DJ production techniques by sampling and re-editing the music into something altogether different. And his records have proven to be incredibly influential and very popular. His 2018 album, Universal Beings, is considered by many, including me, to be a masterpiece. A couple of years ago, we talked about using his approach to re-edit classic Blue Note recordings and to play live on top of those cut up tracks. And we gave him unlimited access to the Blue Note Vault. And the end result is a groundbreaking and very groovy album titled Deciphering the Message. It features re-edited tracks from giants like Art Blakey and Horace Silver and Clifford Brown, Dexter Gordon, who else? Kenny Dorham, Kenny Burrell, Eddie Gale, with new overdubs by Joel Ross and Marquise Hill, Greg Ward, Jeff Parker, Matt Gold, Junius Paul, Deshaun Jones, and of course, Makai himself. Thanks for being here with us today to talk about the album, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
One of the things I love about this record is the way the songs feel linked together in such a way that the album as a whole feels like one connected adventure.
In general, when I make a record, I really like the record to come together as much as any particular individual track. Like I really want the whole thing to kind of have a feel and a flow and can transport the listener. And sometimes, I'll make choices of like might cut one of my favorite tracks I'm working on because it's not really right for the record or the flow, or it just didn't fit somehow. So it's definitely intentional, and I really wanted to make the record kind of feel like one piece, and then also with those bits and pieces from the live set, I really like using even just found sound and different kind of speaking and things that would kind of transport us into another place, another time, and also kind of keep with a hint to like the remix nature of the record. Be like there's intros and there's some other sounds that aren't just the musicians playing, and I really like helps me with get like a narrative or like a story or some whole feel out of the record.
I love the way you got Pee Wee Marquette in there on the opening track, man. It's almost like he's the tour guide for the adventure, kind of.
Yeah, to me that was kind of the thesis. That's one of the things with the sampling. I think that's really I think it's really profound in a way. That you can with recording, etching these things into time, and then they can be reimagined or even, and then they can continue to have a evolution and growth.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of I really liked what he said there. It was as like kind of like a thesis to kind of the record.
For Deciphering the Message, you had to work with original recordings that were recorded live directly to stereotape. There are no multi-track recordings for Blue Note Records until like 1972, really. And you can't just lift a Lee Morgan solo and drop it into something new. You got to take all the fellas with him,
Yeah.
When you're making your own original tracks, are you used to having like multi-track files with a lot of separation, or do you?
I mean, I'll do stuff with multi-tracks, but one of the reasons I got into sampling was from the records that I heard Cat sampling and Dilla and all this stuff, and so they didn't have the multi-tracks. They're sampling it right off the record,
Right.
and so that's how I wanted to do it.
All right, let's talk about some of the songs. Frank's Tune was the first single from the album. It's a great song written by a saxophonist named Frank Strozier, who went to high school in Memphis with guys like George Coleman and Booker Little and Harold Mayburn and Charles Lloyd. And I remember hearing it for the first time in 1966 on a Shelly Manne album that I bought. But you sampled it from Jack Wilson's Easterly Winds album, which is a great record. Got Jackie McLean, I think, and Lee Morgan's playing on it, right?
That song, I was one of the first tracks that really like started to come together for me. And I just remember hearing that melody, you know, for the first time. And I was immediately knew. I was like, man, this is some bad shit, man. Yeah, and then just started to come together, you know, next with like Jeff, you know, calling Jeff Parker. And when he laid that stuff down, it really started to take shape. And, you know, there's a couple different drum tracks going on. I played along with it. But then I also like did some production and then, you know, and then start carving away at that, you know, and I played, you know, a bunch of different stuff, little keyboards, and that one I'm really proud of my bass playing on.
You're playing bass in that?
Yeah,
that's badass, man. That's really great.
That was the one, because there was a number of them I had also played, and then like Junius came by to do the session, and I'd be like, "Yep, that's way better." But I had to keep a couple. You know.
So let's play that one, Frank's Tune. McCraven from his new release, Deciphering the Message, Frank's Tune. Now, Autumn in New York is a brilliant cut from Kenny Burrell's classic album, Blue Lights, Volume 1. And I love the way you've made entirely new chord changes. The patterns are completely different. They never existed sequentially in life before. Tell us a little bit about that track.
The first thing I heard was Kenny Burrell on that. Boom, boom, you know, it comes really strong, and with the intro, and I was like, that really caught my ear, and I started to like loop some stuff up in the beginning, and then that's when I had the idea like to do something with the changes, and that was really about, you know, organizing the changes in a different way and coming up with a flow with that, and then again, that was another one where, you know, I just started to go at it and kind of try to learn the changes, and I played the bass on that one as well. And then yeah, really when I got the rest of the cats on, it's when it really came to life, you know, and Marquise played beautifully on that.
Well, you made it a whole different thing, man. Let's play some of that. That's Makaya McCraven from his new Blue Note release, Deciphering the Message. And Eddie Gale's Black Rhythm Happening is one of the most overlooked, underappreciated, and I think really influential albums in our catalog. Everybody from Sun Ra to Kamasi Washington has drawn inspiration from that record. And I'm really glad you shone a light on that collection of songs. Tell us why you chose it and what it means to you.
Well, you know, one, that record really spoke to me, being this kind of real avant-garde, just like sound, on Blue Note, which was like for the time too, it just felt like it was really pushing the boundaries of the sound label, and so like that kind of really spoke to me. And as I investigated the record more, and also found even more connections with the music that I didn't even know, like Elvin Jones, on the record and all this stuff. I knew I really wanted to do something, particularly with Eddie Gill's music.
This Black Rhythm Happening from Makaya McCraven's new album, Deciphering the Message. Makaya, you made an awesome record. I think it's going to stand the test of time and be appreciated for as long as people continue to listen to music. I know how much work and blood and time it takes to put an album like that together, and I want to thank you for making it happen and congratulate you on some brilliant work, man.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us today. It's always good to see you. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time on First Look. If you enjoyed First Look and would like to see more, please hit the subscribe button and also click the bell icon. That way, you'll be notified when we post our next video.